Okay, welcome to Sphere IT podcast, where we dive deep into the world of digital transformation and the dynamic world of digital innovation across domains, industries, sectors, and technologies. This particular series covers product management and strategies for success in business. My name is Dominika Glazer, and I will be your host. I am a head of product and product management at Virtus Lab, the powering force behind the Sphere IT. So joining us today is Gabrielle Bufrem, a seasoned product management expert and coach with over 8 years of experience in the field, with a proven track record of driving product leadership, success, and leading cross-functional teams. So, Gabi, welcome. I'm very happy that you're here.
I am too.
Welcome to Krakow. How do you like it?
I love it. It's so beautiful here. It feels like a fairy tale. And yeah, just really excited for the conference too.
Yeah, conference tomorrow.
Yes.
So I remember in your talk on PMF23 stage, it was really very fantastic. And I'm very happy that you were able to join us for the podcast today. Maybe a few things more about myself before we start. So I think I'm in a very good and very happy place professionally, but I don't think everyone can feel the same way. And they are maybe wondering if they are made a good or the right choice to become a product manager or work with products. Was this also your case?
I feel really lucky. I actually fell in love with product when I was interning for Google my junior year. I wasn't on the product team, but I think I asked way too many questions and they were like, you should talk to the product people. And I was like, oh, okay, great. I'll try that. And I fell deeply in love. But I would say the thing that I tell my clients all the time and the thing that I tell people that come to me and they're like, I want to be a product person. The first thing I tell them is like, when I got into product, I thought I was just going to get to build whatever. I was going to get to build so much and it was going to be so fun. It's still really fun, don't get me wrong. But instead of building everything, I actually say no to most things. So I'd say that was kind of an unexpected piece, but I do believe the best product managers and also the best product leaders are the ones that are constantly diligently prioritizing. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind for people. And then the second thing I tell people to do is to actually have make a list of what are the core things that bring them energy and what are the core things that take away energy from them. And if they are in a product row, what are those things? And is the list bigger on the things that are bringing you energy versus the things that are taking away energy? Because I believe when you're doing the thing you're meant to do, you're actually in a state of flow and it feels way easier. Not all the time, but most of the time.
That's true. And saying no, I think it's very important, especially right now when the situation on the market, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And we should not invest money in the things that are not going to be lovable by our users.
Yes.
So can you tell me a bit more about your journey, about your career? So you started as intern in Google and then what happened?
Yeah, I was a marketing intern at Google. I then went back to school my senior year and I took a lot of computer science classes and design classes and people thought I was insane. They were like, why would you ever do this? You're done with your requirements. You can just relax. And I was like, nope, I need to prepare. Then I joined Education First, which is an international education company. I was their first product manager. I built a matching algorithm to match host families and au pairs based on personality. Probably still the funnest product I got to build. I researched like dating apps and all these things.
How to match people.
How to match people, yeah. How to measure chemistry. It was like really, really fun. After that, I wanted something more tech-driven. So I joined Pivotal Labs, which at its time, the whole aim was to come into companies, teach them about product management while also doing product with them. So we would come in with our team and we'd pair with their team. So I got to travel the world doing that. I moved to Paris. I opened our office there. I lived in Singapore, worked with Singapore Airlines, the Port of Singapore, built a boat parking app, which was probably the weirdest thing I've ever built. Eventually wanted to move back to the States. So I moved to San Francisco, owned our marketplace. We IPO'd, got acquired. I feel like I've been in like 5 different companies at the same time by that point. And then most recently, before starting my own business, I ran product and design for a mental health for kids startup called Little Otter Health. Mental health is huge for me and really important. My mom's a psychologist, so I always knew I wanted to do something that I felt was purely great for the world. And it was really fun. I mean, we just got to build like a mental health playground online, which was awesome. And about a year-ish ago, I started my own product coaching business. So now I help leaders and founders build products that customers love that also drive real results for the business. And I do that by partnering with them very closely.
Okay, so like your career is very interesting, and you were traveling the world. You were not always in the same place, which is also nice because you were able to see how the culture looks in Europe, how it's different from the US one.
Totally.
Do you have a view on that?
I do think it really helped. And I actually wrote about this because I feel like a core part of being a very good product person is developing empathy and understanding that you are not the same as your users, that even if you are the user, you're never every user, and the importance of understanding someone else's perspective and putting that before your own, and how hard that is. And I do think that living abroad was very helpful and important. I remember like when I moved to Paris and like the banks were closed on Monday and like I couldn't do stuff, and I was like, what? Like, how is this happening to me? And I was like moving from New York. So I was like, I have everything at my fingertips, and now it's very different. And
totally different, yeah.
I remember like maybe the nerdiest thing I did, I like sat down at a cafe with a glass of wine and I drew like a value chain map of like, here are the actions, here's what's driving them, here's the value that they have. And I was like, wow, I do that for users all the time. And now I'm getting to live in a culture that is different than my own, but is actually teaching me both to appreciate different things, but also to appreciate difference.
So you were working in various places. You were working also as a product consultant for the companies. So the question is if you feel that there is a still place for that, for product consultancy. Because right now I have a feeling that most of the companies want to have the business people. And product people are usually business people. Yeah. They want to have them on their premises. So
totally.
Where is like right now the sweet spot?
Yeah. I would say Pivotal, which is where I worked before, it was not a traditional product consultancy. Our goal was to come in, yes, build something that is awesome and that will really help drive revenue. But our core goal was actually to teach the teams how to do that. And I think we were like maybe the only consultancy in the world that like didn't want to get hired again. We were like, we want to do this so well that these teams are great. And somehow it worked for our business model, thankfully. But it was really about teaching the teams and empowering the teams. And I do see a really big trend on that right now. I mean, the best players have coaches. I have like a trainer for the gym, right? It's like, why wouldn't I have a coach for what's super important to me, which is my career?
That's true. So with how many clients you are working right now? Do you have a lot of them?
It depends. So it always fluctuates. I have 2 pretty big clients that I'm actually doing an entire digital transformation with. And those take a lot of my time. I partner with them very, very closely. And I'm happy to say they're wonderful. I love them. I think I love all my clients, which I feel very lucky. And then I have a few startups that I'm working with and a few individuals. So it's kind of like a pretty big range from a stage perspective.
Okay, and if you're working with a company, like how long it take for them to do the digital transformation usually?
It's a great question. I think, unfortunately, the answer is it depends, just like most answers. But I would say the way we get clearer is in the very beginning, I do an assessment with the company. So I do an assessment and I create almost like a blueprint for them of like, hey, here's where you're at and here's where we want to go. Here are the steps. Here are the things that are missing. And here are the things we're going to have to work on together in order to get there. And that gives people a sense. I would say it's not 3 months. It's not 6 months. It's normally not a year. It's more than that. And I think the key for me of a really successful digital transformation starts with leaders at the top being very bought in.
Yes, this is like the hardest part, I think, the leadership, because
Yeah.
of course, they do have their own goals, yeah? And this is usually the biggest problem of product management leadership. Like they try to talk to their leadership and convince them to do something, or as you said, to say no to the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very nice. And well, I wanted to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
So you were reviewing the latest Murty Kagan's book, Transformed, and I really wanted to know everything about the book. So maybe you have like some sneak peek, some insights for our audience. Maybe they were not yet able to read that.
Totally. It just came out.
It just came out. It's totally new.
Yeah. I would say it's so good to begin with. It's just like so good. When I got the book last year, I was like, can people have it now? Like, I don't care if it's this version. Like, of course, like Marty made a lot of tweaks and improvements on the book, which is awesome. But I feel like the first version was already like everything I was missing in terms of creating this blueprint for digital transformation. I'd say like one core insight that I take away from the book is that this book is not only for companies that are looking to do digital transformation. It's for companies that are looking to build products in the best possible way and have an operating model that can help them with that. I'd say like in typical Marty fashion, there's no like frameworks, templates, all of that. And I mean, because they don't work that way, right? Like you can't just like have someone like plug and play, copy and paste something and have it work. But he does provide some core principles that are really important when building really effective product teams. So I'd say that is like a really epic part of the book. And then there's some really great case studies that talk about real transformations, and those are really hard to come by. I mean, I'm currently working with a client and he's very open to like actually doing a case study and showcasing the work that they're doing. That is really rare. Normally, these transformations are behind doors, like no one can know about it. So I would say getting to read those stories and seeing all the things that happen along the way, at least from like a few different perspectives, is another huge value add.
And why do you think companies don't want to show themselves that they are doing something, which is like, you know, very hot topic, basically.
Yeah.
They should be able to show, okay, we are doing the digital transformation. Mm-hmm. Okay, join us or help us, or like, this is our showcase. I don't know why they don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think like to begin with, like a lot of digital transformations fail. And
maybe this is the first reason.
That is definitely the first reason. I think a lot of them fail. And people feel really reluctant in terms of like showcasing that and talking about failure. I think a core part of being in product is to reframe failure. I'm not saying like you should aim to fail. Like we're all pretty like type A individuals. That's why we get into product in the first place. But I think framing it as learning and
to learn from that. Yeah.
And framing it as progress too. I think for me, like I've worked with companies that like they had never talked to a user ever. And now they talk to users like every week. And I'm like, wow, this is huge, you know? But if you tell that to like Google, they'll be like, yeah, sure. Like we do that all the time. But it's all about putting it in perspective. That's why for me, it's so interesting when companies get a coach, because they can frame the best practices together with what the company needs right now and guide those like step by step.
That's true. And I have read that Marty put in the book some phrases like product theater and this sort of stuff. He looks like very angry on the whole industry. And what I was thinking, is this book also good for just product managers to understand where they are in the whole machine of digital transformation and product operations? Because this is also I think the clue of what he wanted to explain in the book, at least.
Yeah. It's more, I think, product ops is like a separate topic. And I think Melissa Perry is doing like a great job there explaining it. And then I think he's talking more about like the product operating model. So like how a product team should work, how product leadership should empower teams. to your question, like 100% people should read this. And I tell PMs that ask me, they're like, oh, should I read Empowered? I'm like, yes, you need to know what you need to expect from your manager, right? You need to know what they need to do for you, and you need to keep them accountable. Like managing up is such an important part of anyone's career. And I think as early as we learn that, the better.
That's totally true. So one more last thing.
Yeah.
What is actually on your agenda? What you are reading?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I read a lot of books at a time, which is maybe like a clue into my world.
It don't need to be related to a product or to your job. Just something
Yes,
that
exactly.
is on your shelf right now.
Yeah. So I'd say I normally actually do like book clubs with my clients. So I am rereading a few books. So I'm rereading Empowered. I'm rereading Continuous Discovery Habits, which are wonderful books. And I think I've reread Inspired like 3 times already this year. I am starting on Transformed again, even though I've reviewed it and I've seen like latest editions. I think it's going to be a book I'm going to read every year, maybe more than once a year. I'm also reading The Team That Managed Itself. Very, very good book by Christina Woodke. I'm almost at the end. And I'm reading Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. So
when do you have time to do all of that, you know?
I mean, I think being a coach, you need to be ahead of the game. That's just like a core piece of it for me. And I actually dedicate like core hours every week to reading. And it also brings me a lot of joy to read. And my clients are very on top of it. They're like, have you read this? Have you seen this? Have you whatever?
So you need to know everything.
I need to know a lot of things. Maybe not everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. Thank you very much for this conversation.
Yeah.
It was really, really very nice. You are our first guest on the Sphere IT Product Podcast.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabi, thank you once again for your insight and sharing your expertise. We truly appreciate the time you have spent to contribute to this episode. To our listeners, we hope that you find today's discussions very informative. Thank you very much for watching us. Please subscribe and be with us on the next episodes.